Roxana Lungu.
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 All the vowels are U.
All the vowels are U, and it could be an umlaut, the 2 dots
Could be.
on the first U.
Why not?
Yeah, but it isn't,
No.
at least currently.
But if you call me whatever that sounds similar, I'll look around and be like, hi.
I gotcha. So if I do Longo, you'll kind of, you'll help.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll write down how you call me so I can remember next time.
All right. So, Roxana, we kind of have to know what we're looking at as far as this data.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to blaze right past that and go to the new data that is being created from intelligent automation. Lauren took us through how work orchestration is bringing new data to light. What are you then doing with that? How do you see it, and what are we doing with this brand new data from intelligent automation?
We analyze it, we derive insights, and building up on Lauren's points, we reassure people that what we are doing with it is what they don't want to do, so they can focus on what they do want to do mostly.
Right.
So the mindset is human and robot, computer, whatever you want together, solve this challenge here, solve these research questions here. It's never, I have this data, I absolutely have to use machine learning on this data because that sounds amazing.
Right.
It's more, I have this thing in my work that I don't really know how to address, or that I would like to do faster, or let's have a look together and see what I can figure out from this data that I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never this technology forced from the top on this data here. So it's always spending enough time with the data so the data can introduce itself and be like, this is me.
Uh-huh.
These are my key features. These are my key patterns. Now you know.
Yeah.
Now ask me something else.
Now ask me something else once you get to know me. So the data is much like a human.
Exactly.
All right. So I, of course, I'm going to go to machine learning, right? I'm going to go to cognitive solutions.
Of course.
Can you give us an example of finding data and then saying, okay, wait a second, now that I understand what this data is telling me, now I can apply some machine learning. Give us an example of that.
I can tell you about a project I'm currently working on.
Okay.
And I'll borrow an analogy from biology first. So as a human, you receive external stimuli and you react to that. You have a feedback.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. Well, what my machine does, what we do together.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few fields, let's say a combination of fields, and I'm interested in figuring out what the last one should be. And in the first step, what me and the machine do together is looking very fastly, the machine does. I set up the rule. What's the field that you use most often when you saw that combination? And that's a recommendation. Now it goes to my end users and they can tell me, yes, I like it, or it's not quite what I meant. And that's where the feedback comes back. So external situation, recommendation, and then feedback in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the laptop learns. But it's not learning on itself. It's learning with me sitting there, setting all the rules, and it's learning with my end users, providing feedback back.
So, and we're talking about machine learning from you and the other users.
Apologies.
And so we've got plenty of technology here, so that's wonderful. But aren't you bringing to the surface here precisely the point that we are not going to be able to do intelligent automation without really great work from really talented humans?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Take us further in there. Can you provide an example of what you're talking about? Because you're kind of so data-centric, so you're almost in between me, someone who's not data-centric, and the machine, right? You speak the machine language a little bit better than I do. Give us unpack the picture so that we can kind of see the landscape a little bit brighter. Can you give us a specific example of what you're talking about in terms of that feedback loop?
In terms of what system
with the machine
works
learning,
on.
yes, exactly. So the machine learning kind of getting insight from you and then getting feedback from the group and then changing what comes out, that final column, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. So the final column that changes for now is the accuracy of the first recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So if in the past you use this particular field, this particular answer, let's call it AA.
Mm-hmm.
If in the past you use that quite a lot, then I'm telling you to use it quite a lot in the future as well. But if the user tells me, no, I'm not using AA anymore, I'm now using BB, then the probability is updated using, well, a function that decreases very fast if there is a no, because I want to exclude everything that is a no now very fast, and increases very softly, I could say, if it's a yes, because I want to reinforce the confidence of saying yes every time, but just a little bit, because a no is a lot more critical than a yes.
Interesting.
Because if I'm using the wrong field, it might cause some, well, tiny issues.
Right.
If I'm using the right one and I'm saying, yeah, I'm even more sure of that, that's brilliant.
So as far as the data scientist and the machine, what percentage of work is, attributed to each of you? How much of the decision making is coming from you? How much of the decision making is coming from machine learning?
I can't separate that. It's alternating. It's me, machine. I also learn from the machine. When you write your code and something is wrong, you get an error message, change me this way.
Right.
And then if I write something in and I get an answer and I don't like the answer anymore, I go and change it.
Right.
So we develop it together, me and the machine. I provide inputs, I see what's coming out.
Yeah.
Either I update my initial beliefs or I update how I programmed it.
Yeah. In some way, this is, programming as it always was. In some ways, this is completely new because there is a cognitive piece here coming from the machine. Or is there? When we say cognitive solutions, do you believe that? Is that
I believe that it is designed
Yeah.
as cognitive as would be for a human. So would the machine know what to do if I told the machine this is my challenge? No. I'm mimicking a human response. So I ask the end users, what would you do in this situation? And that's where I'm, reapplying the cognitive decision of the person to the machine that goes faster. Then there might be cases in which I don't know exactly the rules. And in that case, I would let the machine figure out that there are different categories of data that can be split. And then suggest me which one to look at.
Let the machine go through the massive amount of data and get the information for you. So then when someone like you hears about these movies that someone like me has seen, the ones that always come up at the conferences that we go to, do you think of that as nonsense? Do you see how that could, how we could kind of march towards something like that? You're someone that is working with the machine, right? You're someone that's working with the cognitive solutions. What do you think about all that?
I haven't seen yet a movie about a machine in my specific role.
Uh-huh.
So whatever I could tell you about that will be speculation of what I thought about the movie.
Fair enough. And I appreciate your well thought out answers, even though I tried to put you on the spot. In terms of artificial intelligence, and as far as here we go, towards whatever will be, you're familiar with the term singularity, right? The singularity where...
well, define it for me. I don't know that you mean.
So this
exactly
what I understand the term to mean is that once machines have enough intelligence, they can then take over, right? Is this nonsense, or is that something that you could see happening dozens of years into the future or 5 years into the future? Or is this not even a question?
Well, take over what exactly? The boring job that people make.
No,
yes,
the decision making for global society.
Well, global society.
Yes.
It depends, right?
Yeah.
It depends on, do you want them to do it or not? Do you want to tell the programmer behind it to do it or not? How you define the global morale of what the programmer should apply to it.
There we go. So that I appreciate that answer, because that's what I was getting at. No matter what happens, humans will take artificial intelligence to where it is going. Artificial intelligence cannot escape from the grasp of humanity.
Not today.
Right.
I can't tell you anything about the future with certainty.
Understood.
We can run a predictive model later on. I can tell you all the values that come out of it, but based on my inference, I could say whatever and flip a coin.
Roxana,
Thank you.
I'm going to keep in touch with you as you go, if you don't mind.
Of course.
You've got a big brain in there. I appreciate it.